Hello, everyone. Welcome to the table. Welcome to the Grown Folks Table. We are so excited to be here tonight because we are celebrating.
Yes.
We are celebrating our third episode together as a podcast, and we are so excited because we're going to have a special guest on with us tonight, as well as do a couple of replays. And so we just want to sit at the table and kind of chat with you all. And so make sure you all drop some questions in the chat. Let us know your favorite episode, what you want to hear, because we're just going to have a good time and some good laughs tonight. Y'all ready to have some good laughs?
Come on, bring it.
Bring it. Well, first off, it just doesn't seem like that we have done 3 seasons. I'm sorry, that this is our third season. I think I said episode before, but that we've done 3 seasons together as a podcast. So that just lets you know how fast time flies by. And so let me just say this. You guys are some funny people. You guys are some funny people. And so I was going back through our podcast, because believe it or not, everybody that's watching, we're not just a Facebook Live group. We actually do have a podcast on all podcast platforms. And so if you are a fan of iTunes or SoundCloud, Google Play, you name it, you can go out there and find the Grown Folks Table podcast. And so I was on SoundCloud today, and I was trying to figure out which episode I wanted to share with everyone, just in case if you haven't gone out there and experienced the podcast world, because everybody's not necessarily a podcast person, but trust me, after you listen to the Grown Folks Table podcast, just listen to the first episode, you will come to love podcasting. You will just like listening to all the different voices, all the different stories, and it just brings you so much laughter. But I was listening to our first podcast, y'all, and it was so funny. It was Married versus Single. Do y'all remember that episode?
I remember it. I just don't remember what was said.
Well, okay. So we were talking about, do we have to consult our spouses or need permission? Do y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I'm gonna play a snippet just for
Play it too loud.
no, play it till I'm gonna play it. So you just a snippet, because there was a little disagreement between Joyce and Libby about the perspective of being married versus single. Okay, so this is like the ultimate beginning of us coming together as a podcast.
That's very hard today. They don't understand that.
But I think in some cases, like in mine, that's my life. I can go and do when I please. I can travel to Paris tomorrow if it's something that I need to do, and all I have to do is say, Jay, I gotta go to Paris.
But you still have to consult.
No,
in a way.
No, you don't have. I don't have to get. To me, that sounds like I have to get permission.
No.
I don't have to get permission. But yes, but because I'm in a relationship, and yes, I have a kid, I have a husband, I got a dog, and all those things, I do have to inform. Right. But what I'm saying is, if a situation comes and I need to take a trip, I don't have to say, let me go and talk to my husband first. Yeah. I don't have to do that.
But see, I'm not saying that if you need to go. I'm saying, say, for instance, if I just want to go on tomorrow, if I want to go to Florida.
Same thing.
Well, and you've been married 31 years.
31. Same thing.
Yeah. I want to say that I can identify with what you mean, because if I'm going on a trip, I do have to consult my husband. And I think every marriage is unique, you know. Mm-hmm. And so there is not, what may work for Jay and Joyce, not going to work for Tony and Alicia, and maybe not work for everyone else at the table. But when you realize when you define what respect is in your marriage, and what and come on a common ground on what communication looks like in your marriage, you're right. There are some things that as a single woman, I could not necessarily do walking in the married shoes. No, you're totally 100% right there, because that was the whole part of me yielding and becoming one. Because if that's the case, I might as well stay single, right? So we're operating in one mind, we're walking in one spirit. And sometimes that comes with me tailoring what I want in a particular moment for what's best for our family, what's best for our marriage.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking very much like you're saying, Pastor E, every marriage is unique. And what works for one may not work for another. And I was raised around some very strong Black women. My mother was one of 9 girls. And so very powerful influences in my life. And they taught me, you know, as you sit at the feet and you're tutored, you know, this is what you do. Don't tell them. This is what I was taught. Don't tell them how much you make. Don't ever show them your check. Always hide you some on the side.
So, did you hear Vicky say, don't tell them how much you make? Always hide you something on the side. Now tell me, do you all still, when your mind think about that conversation, do you still have that same concept about permission? Joyce?
I do too. I do.
Yes. Yes.
So nothing
Yes.
has changed. Okay, what about you, Livia? Do you still think that, because you said in the beginning of the podcast that you thought marriage was somewhat confining. So people that are watching, that's how she described marriage. And so she's the single person on the podcast, and she talked about how it was confining, and she likes the fact that she don't have to ask for permission. So has anything changed?
Not really. I don't think it's confining. I think that it puts you in a position where I have to go and consult. I don't like the consulting part. Hence why, you know, how I feel about marriage. But you know, that's the part that but I will say I've had some growth since then.
Woo!
Not in the way you think. Y'all can stop clapping behind it, because it's slow down your train, girlfriend. Some growth in the fact that I may be open in the future to being able to conversate about it. Let me say that. But it is a struggle for me, because I am highly independent, been that way. I'm almost, you know, close to 50. So, you know, it's a long time to have been able to do things without having to have another mind that you have to consider, or another person to consider. That is a tough piece. So, yeah. But that was a great episode. That thing was good.
It was. And I still feel the same way. I still feel the same way that if my best friend say, Joyce, let's go to, and I'll be like, let me check my work schedule, you know, because my child is grown. I've been with the man now for 34 years. And I'll be like, yeah, we can go. And then I'll come home and I'll say, or I get off the phone and I'll say, hey, Jay, you know, Ginger or Roxy and I are going to go to Savannah tomorrow. And he'll be like, okay. That's just how it is over here. And it's no disrespect. It is no disrespect. It's just, we're cool like that.
But Joyce, you got tripped up on the word permission. That's
yes.
Right.
Still tripped up. Fair.
Do you have to get permission from your husband? What you going to say, Vicky?
You know what? I just had a light bulb moment, Libby. I really did. Listen, Linda, Libby. Listen, we work jobs. All of us have a professional life, right? Joyce mentioned it, and that's when I got it. When you've earned days, you get so many days of vacation time in your contract that allows you to take off when you want to. But even though you have those, you still have to put it in and get permission to be out of the workplace. How much more, I'm saying, for a job, and we all have done it, where you put in your days, and sometimes there are blackout days and you can't take off. But I'm just saying, why does it appear to be infringing upon one's independence to confer, to consult with their spouse about being out? I think it's respect. And even though the clip you played, that's what I was taught about. Hide that money. Don't tell them. I promise you, I've never operated that way because I don't believe in it. And I tell you another thing that's even more deeper. None of those people that tried to train me had any successful marriages. Not a one, including my own parents. They just existed together. So I said, if you got success, then you can talk to me. But since you don't, I'm not listening. So I don't think of it as permission. And I think we try to soften it up and say, I'm going to go and just, confer. But if it's consult, or it doesn't, I don't bog myself down with the semantics. My husband, you let him try to take a trip without talking to me about a trip. Are you crazy? So I'm going to give him the same respect that he gives. It's going to be mutual.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, you don't have to. All I'm saying is, if I'm not in the space where Jay and I are, and I have to make a decision, then I know I can make the decision. Will I have the conversation when I see him? Yes, most definite. But all I'm saying is, with knowing who he is and the relationship that we have, I can make some decisions without having to go to him first. Well, hold up, let me talk, Jay, and I'll come back and get back with you. I'm just saying, I just don't have to do that. On most occasions, I can make the decision there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, can Jay come to you and
yes.
say,
he has done it. He has done it. He and his brother planned a Vegas trip out. I mean, I planned it out, and when he got home to me, and he just told me, and I'm like, okay. Right. I'm like, okay. I mean, because it's just that's how we are. And I mean, if it was more of an extensive travel, like if we were doing some international stuff, yes, that'll be different. I would have more of a conversation. But all I'm saying is I can make a split decision. That's all I'm saying. And I don't feel like it's going to disrupt our marriage because I made a split decision.
And Joyce, I do respect that, because like I said, I can understand that. But my thought was that I don't even have to even ever think about whether I can. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody that I need to even, after the fact, once I say, hey, let's go on the trip, I can go. I don't have to come back to anybody. My mom and them will find me somewhere in the mountains, and I may call them then. I'm gone. Where are you going? I'm up 85. And that kind of thing. And that will be. Should I be in a committed relationship? That will be my challenge. I know that will be my challenge, and that will be my growth point. Hard growth point, but it will be that growth point for me. Y'all stay tuned, because we're gonna come back next week with relationships, honey. We got some
hello.
We're gonna bring it back.
That thing.
But before we transition, we have a special guest here on the podcast, and I'm so excited that the special guest is here because it's a surprise.
Hey! Hey!
Yes. Hey! That's my man. Hey, man.
What's up? Hey, Mama Joyce, how you doing? That's my mentor for life right there.
You gonna make me dye my hair, boy? Stop.
I'm sorry. Hey, I've been calling you Mama J for a minute. Just deal with it. How's everybody doing?
Good.
We're doing good. We're doing a replay of oldies, Ahmed, and so for those who don't know, Ahmed will produce our Grown Folks Table podcast show, and so he's been there since the beginning. And when he heard all of our voices come together, so I thought I'd bring him on as a surprise because we're celebrating our third season as a group podcast.
When you hit me up, Pastor E, I was like, it's been that long? I was like, man, time has flown. But no, it was when Joyce reached out to me and said that, you guys had this idea. I'm like, well, let me listen to everybody. And I think we went out to dinner. I just heard you guys talk, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is a show. This is a real show. This is a good show. And I think what I loved most about it is I think the pandemic came right at the right time for everybody here, because when we started, we were meeting up together in one location, Pastor E at the church, and trying to get as many shows done as possible, to put them out. And it's difficult. It's difficult to get at the time 6 women together at one location who are extremely busy, very powerful women. And I was like, I don't know how long we'll be able to do this, but it sounds good from what we're doing. And then when the pandemic hit and Pastor E and I had some back and forth of what else could be done, I'm just glad that you're able to find this way of doing it. And it sounds good. I think the growth of everybody just in this space has been amazing. And I just love checking you guys out when I can. And I'm proud of all of y'all, all of you, because it's you guys sound great. You guys sound great. And Pastor E, you're doing a great job hosting.
Yes.
I know.
Tell them funny. Let the people know how funny we are.
Oh no, y'all hilarious. The funniest is Vicky though. Vicky be scaring me. How funny.
I forgot. Dad, I forgot my knife.
You got your knife? Because let me tell you, Vicky ain't trying to be funny and just be funny. I'll be sitting there like, this Vicky a character and a half over here. This is hilarious.
It's just natural.
Which one's your favorite episode, Ahmed?
The one that y'all just talked about? The one that you just talked about. Yeah, that was because I just remember Joyce getting so hyped in that. I was just like, Joyce got so hyped, and it was my favorite episode because I took it to my radio show. I produced the Willie Moore Jr. show. I took that topic, and our lines were blowing up, and I loved it because every single time somebody said, I don't ask permission from my husband, I always responded with, "What if he says no?" And it was just like well, we're gonna have to talk about it. I'm like, you're gonna have to ask permission. I was like, because no one has ever thought of their husband saying no to them or their spouse saying no.
Yeah.
And I always said,
be me. That would be me.
Because
I think if
what would
Jay
happen,
told
Joyce?
Me no, I would just freeze. I'm like, it has never happened. And I'm like, did he just say no?
Wait, hold on. Let me use my good ear.
Right, because that means Joyce would have told Jay, turned around, walked around, heard no, but like, I know I didn't hear him right, because I know he didn't just tell me no. But,
moment of fellowship is what we call it.
Man, it was just like, no, we have to have a discussion now. Now we have to have a discussion. Why no? Because I think most people say, like, if you tell me like we got something else planned at that time, they understand that. But it's like most people do not like that word permission. They'll talk all the way around it. The word permission strikes them to the core. They don't want to. I'm grown. I don't want to ask no other grown person for permission to do anything. And I just thought that I think that was our first episode. I just thought how crazy powerful, and I wasn't even thinking about that. I asked all my guy friends, "Do you ask permission?" They all sit around like, "Yeah, we basically do." Like at first they'll say, "No, we don't ask permission." Yeah, we kind of do, don't we? Yeah, we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we kind of do. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite. And there's actually one episode that I don't think I ever aired. I never ran it. Never ran the episode, and that was my second favorite. It was about loss.
Wow.
You guys talked about loss, and I was saving it for something. And I never got to the point where I wanted to release it. And it was probably one of the most powerful conversations I've heard, because when we talk about loss, and I'll probably release it, on the podcast eventually. But when we talk about loss, Joyce said some things that I wasn't expecting. And when you hear loss, I'm thinking about. I thought y'all were going to talk about death, like someone that died in your lives or something like that. Joyce mentioned her son not going to college, and I was just like, okay. But then when she explained it, I'm like, oh, the expectation of the children. You know what I'm saying? And how if they don't do what you were expecting them to do, it feels like a loss, an opportunity lost for you. Becky, who was on the show initially, she said something about her daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I sat back like it was one of those episodes where I didn't know when to let it go or when to release it because it was so powerful. So one of these days I'm going to release that for y'all and let people have at it. It was a strong episode, very strong episode.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the great things about pulling up to the table, because you got to be grown to handle the conversation, because you just never know which way it's going to turn. I think one of my favorites was, and it was funny to me, was when we talked about the wedding glam, and it really turned into wedding trauma, because Vicky started talking about her wedding situation, and then it kind of moved to my wedding. So I'm gonna play just a small snippet of that. Okay, so tell me if y'all remember this one.
Had never been in a wedding, didn't know a whole lot, and so we jumped in, okay. And so things were cheaper. I went shopping, and my mama was rigid about that budget. Rigid. The girls bought their own dress, and the guys bought their own tux. But anyway, I'll tell you, I'll skip to everything. When we got to the reception, my mom let her cousin sign everybody in on the gift register, okay, to show what they gave. My mom is a cook, and so she wanted all her sisters, she had 8 of them, to do the cooking. So we couldn't have a formal caterer. So they cooked, they made good food, but, soul food, not fancy little hors d'oeuvres like Libby has at her events, or Eva had at her wedding. And so we might have had some fried chicken, potato salad, and some collard greens. So anyway.
Some good eating though, Vicky.
It was good eating, but this is the sad. I have trauma about my wedding.
Right.
I do have trauma.
Me too. Go ahead. I got trauma. We can trauma relate.
Because we ran out of food.
Oh my God.
We ran out of food. It was the most
Cardinal sin
in the world. I was like, Mama.
Okay, so everybody knows you don't want to run out of food at a wedding. Ooh. Who runs out of food at a wedding? Okay, Jesus is not there, so he is not there to work the miracles. Turn water to wine. So what happened, Vicky? Let everybody know what happened when y'all ran out of food. Did y'all go to churches and
bought some chicken? They went and got some chicken.
They went and got some chicken. They went and got some pot pies and some point cooking.
You don't know my people. You don't know my people. My people said, when it's gone, it's gone.
Oh boy!
And I was so traumatized. I believe I blacked out because I can't remember no more.
That's funny.
That was the most embarrassing thing. And I remember you had some kind of embarrassment at that
macaroni and cheese, baby. Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, I didn't play my clip. But I did. It was, it was funny because, we were trying to keep the expenses down, and I didn't have any money. The women traditionally, the parents are supposed to pay for the wedding. And so Tony Cash had to pay for the wedding. He was like, he wasn't going into debt to feed people. Oh my God. So I tried to be bougie and create a toast. And out at this fancy toast comes macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and I was humiliated. I was so humiliated. I was like, I'm trying to be bougie, and y'all bring out fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens, and I didn't eat one bit. But I also remember Dolores talking about her wedding, how she tried to be simple and just go to the justice of peace, and then her mother-in-law was like, "Yeah, can y'all, you and your friends just come and dress alike? So you already know. Delois, we already know that she was ready to plan y'all wedding. She was the wedding planner, and you just didn't even realize it in the making.
That is correct. That was my mother-in-law. Let her rest in peace. Yes. Yes. Because we both have been married before, so I didn't want anything big and lavish. I just wanted my love, and he was just my love. And when he proposed Christmas Eve, baby, February 1st, it was on. Just that quick, yes. But she made it happen, and it was at her home. It was beautiful. We had everything but the church. The pastor wanted us to come to the church, but we wanted to just be family, close friends, people that cared about us. But it was beautiful. It turned out to be great. And actually, it was 75 degrees on February 1st, in 1986. It had just snowed all week. It was an ice storm all week. But that day, it was 75 degrees. It was unbelievable. So I guess he was supposed to take me, I take him. Hey, yeah. But we are still here and strong, baby. And what years now? It's 2021. We're still strong, baby. Yes.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just noticing y'all. What these shirts? Wait a minute.
Come on.
We got shirts too.
What?
And we got mugs and okay.
And green scrolls. Okay, green.
Mine's silver over here.
Come on, Brandon. I see you. I'm sorry. I was like, wait a minute. Everybody got shirts, and I didn't know we had.
We actually have two. We have a gray one like this and this black one. We ain't playing with y'all. We ain't playing.
I ain't mad at all. Come on now. I love it. I have to go, but I really do appreciate all of y'all, and I know I can hit up any one of y'all at any time. So I appreciate y'all, love y'all, and
thank you, Ahmed.
To another
thank you, Ahmed.
10 years and whatever. We got y'all. I got you guys back.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Love you, Ahmed. Love you. Yeah, that was Ahmed was one of my interns that I just did not let go.
Yes.
I mean, I did not. He was such a great intern. And every job that he got, even out in Chicago, everywhere he went, I went to visit. And just to see how things were going with him. And we still have the relationship that we built, oh my God, maybe 15 years ago.
Well, it was so good to see him today. And so now since he's gone and we have no more men on the scene, we can talk about our most recent controversial, as I would say, podcast that we had.
First we got to get this comment that's down here from Mr. Grissom now.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, we know.
Come on, show you right now. Show you right now. Show you right.
Oh, and he was singing to me. Oh, I didn't tell you he was singing to me.
Come on.
My flesh, bone of my bone. Yes.
Come on now.
Yes.
We know the evening is going to really be nice after we get off this show.
What on something? Right. But one of our next favorite episodes was when we had a hard time coming together collectively defining sexuality. So do y'all remember the episode on WAP?
Yes. Yes.
That was a good one.
We was not in agreement.
No, at all.
We was not in agreement. So I'm gonna play just a snippet of that one because we were not in agreement.
That's the thing. And unfortunately, they are taking it upon themselves from what they have seen, from what they little bits and pieces that they hear and thinking that this is what society wants. But when you do 1 million+ downloads in a day or two, it's not working.
Well, do you think that they?
Well, here's let me jump in, E, if I can jump in real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. What I think it's all about the level of your comfortability, and also it's about the level of people's sexuality. And those persons who are free in their sexuality, this does not bother them, nor does it offend them,
nor do they think that it's raunchy or ratchet. And the truth of the matter is, it's no different than Betty Wright. It's no different than Marvin Gaye. It's no different than Beyonce talking about surfboarding her husband, and everybody trying to figure out what that position is. And it almost blew up Google because people Google the surfboard position, but because people of certain generations did not know what surfboard was, it didn't bother them. The problem with WAP is very expressive. So there's words in the song and in the lyrics that certain people can identify with. And because of that, it bothers them because, one, you wouldn't dare say those words.
Mm-hmm.
Sure wouldn't. People who don't, but people who do. No. But there are people who do, and they say in their own bedrooms. There are people who do, they sit down with their friends.
Right.
And so you have, these people are artists. And artists, to me, can have expressions in any way that they want. My problem is this. Shame on anybody who allow an artist to raise their children. Shame on anybody who allow something that somebody does that does not live in their household, who don't have any kind of investment raising, to be able to say Cardi B talking about WAP and talking about really what she's talking about is taking ownership back of what Mick been saying. Yeah, the song is about. The song is not about I'm teaching you how to have sex. I'm teaching you how to do it. That's not what it's about.
Girl, I don't know.
The song is basically about who playing music because we date somebody. That's the Morris phone.
I said, is somebody playing WAP?
Yeah. So I mean. So the thing is,
I'm 1,000% with that.
But one thing, I've been to poetry things, and I've heard people do poetry from a very same, completely raunchy, if you want to say, expressive place where they have expressed it through poetry. I've heard it, and my thing is, this is a generation that it's a surprise for you to hear it. But baby, they've been doing it before. You've been talking about, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. You're late to the party. You're very late to the party. And if you have not had conversations with your children, your girls, or whoever it is, then this ain't the first song by Cardi B that sounds like this. It's not the first song by Megan Thee Stallion. Hell, Beyonce did a song with Megan Thee Stallion. Mm-hmm. And the song was just blew up the chart, made millions and millions of dollars. Why would she make a song with Megan Thee Stallion? Because here is the thing. People are at the point where they're not letting men define what they can be and do as a woman. Whether you agree with it or not, it's fine. You don't have to, because everybody's from a different period. Everybody's from a different generation. People have different backgrounds. I don't think it takes women back to no degree, because guess what? Lil' Kim did it. We didn't go back. Foxy Brown did it. We didn't go back.
Trina,
we didn't go back.
We didn't go back.
I did it. So we're not going back. What we're doing is we have to understand that we're in a culture where women are free. And Cardi B, her background is what her background is. But guess what? Cardi B is one of the most political people out there as an artist. She is one that pushed the political platform. She just did a sit.
Okay, so this is where it went all wrong, because as you can see, they wouldn't let me get a word in. I didn't.
Y'all should have told me to be quiet, because I talked for like 20 minutes now.
I tried to interrupt 3 times.
Boy, shut up. Just tell me to shut up, child.
They didn't let me get one word in. So here's the thing. Later on in the conversation, I come out and I talk about how the fact that Vicky thought it was garbage. We talked about the video, and she didn't even understand why we was even having the conversation. And I began to unpack how I felt like they missed the mark. Both of these young ladies missed the mark in the opportunity to really empower women. That this was not the time for them to come out with their salacious shenanigans music, but to put a spin on it and do something empowering, that uplift women, like a Queen Latifah and what was that one song that Aretha Franklin did? Y'all remember when Aretha came out? Was that A Rose is Still a Rose? Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, girl.
I'm just saying.
Just keep on say on what you was on.
That was an uplifting song. Well, it seemed like we've had more uplifting songs that some artists have kind of come out and do. But I just felt like these ladies totally missed that opportunity to uplift these young girls in a positive way instead of coming up with a song called WAP.
You know they got a Grammy. You know the one.
Well, who voted for him? Look who voted for Vicky. We can't hear you. Turn your mic on, please.
Let me turn Vicky mic on. There you go, Vic. Go, Vic.
But Grammys is on sales. It's on sales. It's not that they're voting. It's on sales.
Yeah. You know, and the point is, and we're never I'm never going to agree with this foolishness, and I'm just not. And I mean that. I think as a woman, and I'm probably the oldest on this, it's deplorable. And I do know, Libby, in my generation, and Joyce and Dolores know, yes, it was some questionable songs like, you know, who's zooming who, or the cleanup lady. And, you know, we had some songs that were a part of, but this has surpassed anything Aretha, Gladys, Billy Paul. It's surpassed this is garbage, and you know it is. How dare we qualify it? We're qualifying it because they got a Grammy. Who gives a damn? That is
Vicky, they do. That's the thing.
They got a Grammy, and do you know it was like one of the top selling singles by a woman.
I need to take a bath. I gotta take a bath. You gotta go bathe.
But they weren't making it for you, Vicky. They weren't making it for you because they know you were going to be the way that you are. So these ladies weren't making it for you. They were making it for the women that Libby was talking about when we did the clip. That's who they were making it for. Unfortunately, you know, for us, we you know, some of us thought it was disgusting, but to them, they were playing to what they live in right now. And
girl, I'm getting a drink, Joyce. I'm getting a drink. I
mean,
water.
I'm in the industry, and I didn't particularly like the song, but the thing is, I understood why it was done. That's my thing. I don't particularly like it. I've never played it other than to hear what other folks was talking about and to see the video so I can have some conversation with you all. But you know, it's a sign of the time, and this is what's selling. So they are playing to that, and they don't really care about what, you know, a seasoned woman have to say about it. They just don't care.
Well, Janet just brought up a good point that was watching. She said that, are we referencing the video that Cardi B wouldn't even let her own daughter watch?
Yeah, but her daughter's a toddler.
Exactly. So, her daughter has to grow up. But her toddler will grow up, though.
But when her daughter grows up, her daughter, if her daughter does watch it, she has a mother that can explain it. Here's the thing. Your daughter might watch it. So you
I wish she would. I take her eyes out.
You can't never.
But you gotta be with her.
Walking around here talking about my mama took my eyes out.
And this is the issue.
You won't even know trust and believe me. You wouldn't.
We had people the last time they were on me, said, "Shame on you! You let your granddaughter watch." You do not know what these children are watching. That's what I was trying to say. You do not know what the fact they have access to the iPhone, the cell phones, the computers. You're not home with them 24 hours. You have to work. They're homeschooled now. A lot of these kids are home. You do not know but to put your head in the sand and think your child is not doing this. You are the ones who are really not knowing what's going on. Please know these children know everything.
They do.
They know what's good. They know what's bad. They know what's good. They know what's bad. They know what's right, what is wrong. But they know what is going on. They know what is out there.
They sure do.
And my thing is, I want to be aware of what's out there too. So I'm glad to be around young people to enlighten me because I want to know about why. you know. But Anthony Hamilton was talking about it too, and this was on an award show, so they were talking about it, and they're still
it's a famous song. It's a song that many people love, but everybody won't like it, and I think it's okay because your music is your music. I personally like the song. I have no problem with it, and I said that before. Because here again, I don't think anybody should be raising our children, but I do believe children. I think they do watch it. They got peers, they got friends who can watch things that you may not let them watch. They can get to anything they want to get to. The best thing and I said this before in this podcast, what you better do, you better have these conversations with your children.
Exactly.
Because if you think that your children don't know half the things that you knew at their age, you are living in a bubble somewhere and you're going to go cuckoo crazy when it comes down. You got to sit and have those conversations because these children are very mature at their age. They know a lot of things. This is a different world, different generation. And they're growing up with much more things to contend with than we did. So you definitely have to they're not babies. I tell my sister this all the time. You ain't got no baby. You better understand you have a child who is fully aware of everything from social justice to sex. They are aware of all of the games, everything in between.
And it's okay for the awareness piece. I think as a parent, it's still your responsibility, it's still your obligation to safeguard the material and to filter it.
Yeah.
And if you are a parent, you better have parent controls. Because I know one thing, learn how to do them backyard parent controls. When stuff be shut down when you go to certain sites and you put numbers on everything. If you don't know how to do it, inbox me.
What I will say for anybody out there listening, because I know the last time I got a lot of pushback. However, I don't have any small children. My daughter is grown, so she want to listen to WAP. She can listen to WAP, and I do not control my grandkids. I'm not around them all the time, but they're very smart. They're very sharp. They know what's good, what's bad. They know what to listen to and not to listen to. So I don't have to go there. But what I will tell you, because we all know about TikTok and familiar with it. So we can't say our children are not on TikTok because they are. But TikTok has a plethora of songs. And if you just listen to those songs, now I will tell you, I've gone through the TikTok songs. So, so we discussed the TikTok songs, what songs you can listen to, what you can. But I would say go there because that's where you'll really find out whether they sing a video or not.
Yes.
It's the lyrics of those songs in the TikTok. But I think our children not really listening to the words as much as these kids are dancing to the beat. We did that too growing up.
Yes.
We were dancing to the beat. We weren't paying attention. And I know now I go back to a lot of songs. I was dancing to the beat. And I'm like, oh my. Oh, wow. That's what he was saying. And I'm just, I'm getting it. But that's the same thing with these kids. They're just dancing to the beat. They're not listening to the song, the lyrics. They don't know that. So they're innocent in that piece. But yes, I agree with you, Pastor Cash. Yes, we got to censor our kids. But that's parents. I'm glad I'm having a little one, so I don't have to have that headache on me right now. Now, if I'm in the environment with my grandkids, yes, I'm making sure they're covered. I'm being grandma, and we are talking. So we do talk to our children. They do know. They know right from wrong. They know about the TikTok. The little one can't even be on because she's too young. But there are a lot of kids that are still on. And I used to say, why you got kicked off? She said, I'm too young. But there's still a lot of kids on it younger than her. So I'm glad that they kind of start censoring that, because these kids are on it, especially during COVID. I think a lot of people were getting on it, for something fun to do. But I would say go through the TikTok repertoire and listen to some of those songs.
And I would say you can. I think it's good to safeguard. I mean, I'm in total agreement with that. But I also think that you got to have conversations that make you uncomfortable with your children. And I think that's the thing. A lot of parents are just uncomfortable having those conversations with their children. And when they do have those conversations, children know more than them. Because I tell this to a lot of friends that I have. You don't know half the music that's out there because you're disgusted by it. But this is your children's generation. You ought to know the music at least so that you can discuss it with your children and you can at least have a conversation about it. Whichever way you like it or you don't like it, what have you, you need to be able to have a conversation about it and teach them how to filter. because
Yes.
they got to go through life learning how to filter.
Well, you heard it right here at the Grown Folks Table. We still don't agree on this WAP music. Period. We're not in, we're not Team WAP. Me and Vicky are not Team WAP at all. But thank you so much for celebrating our anniversary or our third season, and look forward to joining us next week because we'll be back with new episodes, and we're so excited. Pull up to the table, drop something in the chat tonight. Let us know what you want to talk about so we can bring it up at the Grown Folks Table podcast. Good night.
Good night.
Right.